Reporting live from Hyper Clubhouse in Atlanta for Comedy Hype News, I'm John Abba. It appears that Steve Harvey is still bothered by some of the comments about him from Katt Williams and others. Last week, a new series on Vice called Black Comedy America would air to get several backstories from those in the black comedy circuit. In a recent scene, host and producer Chris Spencer would unite Steve Harvey, D.L. Hughley, and Cedric the Entertainer to reflect on their time as the kings of comedy with the late Bernie Mac. While speaking on today's comedy scene versus how they came up, Harvey would be triggered to issue another subliminal message at Katt Williams and those alike who have called him out and other comedians. He would speak out against any comedian who criticizes other comedians publicly.
He say, like, if we going through something, we'll call each other.
Right. Yeah.
I know they lying about you online. I know that podcast is bullshit. Just because you can talk smooth without saying it don't mean you ain't lying. I be sitting up here looking at these podcasts of these other comedians that's going on talking about other comedians. Hold up, dog. Where did that shit come from? Because you ain't never heard me say not a disparaging remark against another comedian nowhere. You ain't heard him, or him, because we ain't cut from that cloth. What is your motive for doing this here? And you're not going to tear him down. I got a radio show that do 9.5 million people every day on it. I could cut that mic on and let you have it. I could fix your career on a permanent basis, partner.
Now, if you can recall, this would be seen as another response Harvey would issue at Katt Williams' interview with Shannon Sharpe, which has now reached 80 million views since it premiered back in January of 2024. Harvey has previously aired out his frustrations at Katt before on his radio show, at his golf tournament, and recently at this year's InvestFest in Atlanta. From the looks of it, it appears that Harvey is still bothered by Katt Williams' claims that included him stealing material from Mark Curry, being jealous of Bernie Mac, and among other things. Now, when it came down to Bernie Mac, Harvey would tell the table that no one could mistreat Bernie Mac because he was a man's man to his core.
The thing about Bernie was a man's man. Mm-hmm. So when somebody say, they treated Bernie like shit, that was impossible. That was impossible. This dude right here was Chicago South Side to his core and blood.
The nearly 1 hour and a half conversation would even address people wanting to know if there would be another king to replace Bernie, in which Harvey would claim there was never a conversation of replacing Bernie Mac. Now, Katt Williams is currently on tour and has yet to publicly respond to Harvey's newest comments. Let's talk about it more in the comments below. Do you agree with Harvey's code for comedians, or is it okay for comedians to tell all their truths and experiences in interviews today? For more news and comedy, be sure to subscribe here to our YouTube channel and follow Comedy Hype across all social media. Plus, head over to hypersclub.com to become a member to check out full interviews and more content. Live from the Hyper Clubhouse in Atlanta for Comedy Hype News, I'm John Abba.